If you're watching this, you're most likely a human. And humans eat food. But think about it. Do you know where it came from? How it was produced? What went into getting it onto your plate? Not all, but a lot of people who shop at the grocery stores in the US accept those shelves full of vibrant produce and hefty chunks of meat as just another part of life. But our food system shouldn't be taken so lightly as to label them as just background processes. They are intrinsically linked to how we as a species see ourselves in relation to our surroundings and the natural world as a whole. We as a species have a track record of seeing nature as something separate from ourselves, something to be used and controlled rather than being something bigger that encompasses us. This belief, aptly named Anthropocentrism, has a big role in how we consume, destroy, and use the natural processes and cycles around us. But is this way of thinking sustainable? And more importantly, is there even a way to undo and fix this problem? Throughout researching this topic, I was looking at two things: the philosophical belief of what I now know as anthropocentrism, and the way we treat food in our surroundings, and how those two things are linked. Sarah E. Bosla of Encyclopedia Britannica defines anthropocentrism as a philosophical viewpoint arguing that human beings are the central and most significant entities of the world, end quote. This term serves as a perfect lens for us to look at the mass production of food through. I researched how we approach food in this country and what it symbolizes, and a great quote from Joshua Hitchman I used in one of my essays was, "Meat has become anatomy for America. The red that drips from our steaks and burgers flow gallantly in our stars and stripes. The Western American farmer is emblematic of the nuclear family, the hard-working and hard-earning person, the American middle class." I think this is a perfect way to summarize how we feel about the meat industry. Meat itself is a statement of wealth and abundance. It's expensive, yet based on our culture, we seem to be swimming in it. And the subsequent state of the meat industry is just a symptom of that sentiment. After looking at meat, I moved to the mass industrialization of agriculture. I specifically thought on how odd the concept of genetically modifying food is, and how it went from creating golden rice to prevent blindness in children to this. I had watched an episode of the food podcast, A Hot Dog is a Sandwich, where I learned about their concept of Row 7 Seed Company, where they strive to return the produce back to when it was tasty, nutritious, and craveable. I also learned that apparently only 4 companies control 65% of our seed stock, and they don't really have any motivations to improve anything since they don't really make any money from it. But the more I learned, the more I realized that actually changing anything would be incredibly difficult. The way we produce and consume food is so deeply embedded in our society that shifting away from it even a little isn't just a matter of awareness. It would require massive cultural and structural changes. I want people to take a new lens away from this video. I want them to take a second to appreciate the foods available to them and to just be aware of what goes into it. Maybe self-reflect a bit on how they themselves treat their surroundings. I also think that ways to effectively transition from our current systems to less impactful ones without burdening those who can't afford it needs to be looked into further. Right now, sustainable and ethical food choices often come at a higher cost, making them inaccessible for a good percent of our population. And any shift has to account for economic barriers and systemic issues, not just personal choices alone. Thank you.